Welcome to Why Marketing Isn't Magic, where we're delving into the strategy and intention behind marketing and communications efforts. And we're dispelling myths about how marketing is easy, anyone can do it, and you can just do it on the fly and you'll be successful. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about marketing in general and ROI. And I have the privilege of talking with Robin McClain, who is the Chief Marketing Officer for Destination DC. Welcome, Robin. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you and I had an interesting conversation when we were preparing for this. And so you can take this either way. But really what I want to talk about, I want your take on why do you think people have this misconception? Because I don't want to steal your thunder. You can say it, the way you were telling me, but in general, either way you slice or dice it, it's almost like this, just go wave your wand and you do it when we do real work.
Yeah. I think people do think marketing is easy, and I do think there is a misconception. And I don't really, it doesn't bother me so much, but it is just, I think because everybody kind of does it, or thinks that they can do it. And it's been simplified so much, especially through social media.
Yes.
I think that takes away from some of the real strategy and work behind what makes marketing work.
Absolutely. So you just tuned it out.
When I need to, I think, if there's something that is like challenging or people are trying to dismiss marketing, I'm absolutely going to stand up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe because I don't have many years under my belt, but it's less annoying when people are like, just go, and I'm like, no. Well, first of all, I think let's talk about how you need time to plan and you need time to build a campaign. I often feel like people will come, whether it's internal or external, and will say, well, the thing is in 2 weeks, can't you just...
No, I cannot. And it depends on what that is. I mean, there are things we can absolutely do in 2 weeks, in 2 hours. But you can't create a good brand and strategy in a just like that. I mean, it has to come from somewhere, and really it's about I promote a destination, and I've only really promoted destinations, frankly, in my marketing. So we are judged at Destination DC by the number of people who are coming to Washington, DC each year, whether they're coming for leisure travel or business travel or for conventions and meetings. We work really hard to ensure they choose Washington, DC. Certainly some of that happens because people have something that they have to do here, or someone's getting married here, or things like that. But we can help move that needle, and it is done in two distinct ways, one through sales and one through marketing.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. So someone comes to you with a campaign, and do you have an ideal time frame? Like, is it 30 days, or does it depend on what the campaign is? And then there's certain components or elements, and we all know, those of us in marketing, every campaign is different and you customize it. But there's certain sort of, there's a framework that you have for each campaign. I want you to talk a little bit about, especially to other people who deal in place management, of what's the ideal time frame and what's this framework that you're building as you're developing this campaign.
So let me just start with, nobody's coming to me with a campaign. I'm coming to them.
Okay,
So
I love it.
I'm developing that in-house. And by I mean the marketing and communications team at Destination DC, so which I lead. But we are, whether that is, promoting DC through, seasonal campaigns, which is primarily how we do it. But there's opportunity certainly out there for larger events. So think about America's 250th birthday this year. That is huge. We were working really hard to establish Washington, D.C. as center stage for that event. And so that is helped by having big events here and things like that we can promote. But it's also been 3 years of working through a committee that we've been leading to bring in partners from the destination and stakeholders to really build up, hey, what are you doing? How can we engage one another and really make this year successful for everyone? And so we're really excited about it because it's, even though we're now into the year.
Yeah.
This is not just about July 4th.
Right.
It is about the entire year and really trying to shine that spotlight on Washington, D.C. through the marketing opportunities. So we're talking about year-round hotel deals this year. So it's not just about July 4th. There are hotel opportunities through celebrating America's 250th at 20 plus hotels right now in DC throughout the year. So that's amazing.
Right. Absolutely.
So you choose a hotel, then you choose your experiences. There are plenty of exhibits that highlight a lot of U.S. history and things. Obviously, that's a natural fit for D.C., but our museums and cultural institutions are going the extra step and have really worked to develop unique and really wonderfully deep looks at American history. And so it's just one more thing to promote, but a big opportunity.
Absolutely. Robin, tell me how you think marketing a place is different than marketing a product, a service.
Sure. So I would stay in the hospitality industry as I'm answering this question. So Washington, D.C. is endless. The stories are endless. You could break it down by neighborhoods. You could break it down by just talking about museums. You could talk about music. You could talk about theater. You could talk, sports. You could talk about restaurants. There's so much to promote. I really see a destination like this as an endless list of storytelling opportunities.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you were a singular business that's in the hospitality industry, the difference is your business, let's say you're a hotel, every so often you have a new part of a story to tell. So that might be through a renovation or your new hotel or you're sharing things about what your restaurant's doing and you have different events and things like that. But it's a little bit more challenging to kind of keep that refreshed.
Yes.
But we have plenty of partners who do that, but through working with us and I think great marketing people who, even if they're not working with us, I don't think, we don't work with everybody, but I think what you do is you then look to the destination and kind of connect to some of those things that are going on. And then it becomes endless for you too. So the storytelling possibilities about your one business as you're connecting to different things become less limited. You feel less limited about it, I guess.
I love that. Yeah. And as you said, with the destination, we do have many different storylines because we're more of a microcosm. You promote all of DC and we're just doing downtown. But we're looking at what are the assets? Why should people come? And these different storylines. One of the things that I think comes up a lot, either intentionally because we bring it up or people bring it up to us. And I feel maybe unjustly or maybe not, it's ROI because, what is the return on investment? And some people, I feel like sometimes it's, this, you have to show me because I feel like my money's going down the drain. When essentially it's not. Like part of what we do is track the ROI. Can you talk a little bit about how you do that, especially in the hospitality industry, heads in beds and butts in seats? What are you looking for ROI?
Well, we're very, very specific about it. So if you think of ROI, so there's return on investment, and we loosely call it that, but we also very specifically look at ROAS, which is return on ad spend, ROAS, ROAS. And so what that shows is that we do an independent annual study with an external research agency that goes out to consumers and asks, did you see this advertising? And did it influence you to come to DC? Basically, in between did you see this advertising and did you come to DC, there are several other questions that throw people out. So like I mentioned earlier, like if you were already coming for a wedding, you're not a part of it. If you were coming on business, you're not a part of it. Or if you said, I came, but the advertising didn't influence me, you're out of it. So we're counting only people who end up saying, I saw the advertising, that advertising influenced me to come to Washington, D.C. And I booked that travel and I came within the period of time that we're doing this study. And so as a result, we have an annual return on investment study that allows us to tell that story. So for every dollar spent, more than $2 is coming back to the city in return. And so that means we're a good bet.
Absolutely.
You know, anything, as someone, a board member of ours told me early when I started at Destination DC, it's like anything over $1 is good, right? But like that ranges depending on the year, depending on the spend. But what that is actually doing when you're looking at the ad spend specifically, it means that you're judging that each year based on the budget that you have. So in the past couple of years, we've had some really large budgets. This year, we have a more modest budget. And so you get to really see and show the difference between the impact of those dollars. They're still impactful regardless of the amount, but it really shows you that range. And we reached, with our highest ad spend ever, we reached the highest number of visitor spend and taxes collected. And so that shows you the return on investment for the city is a good bet for.
For sure. I want to stay there for a second talking about ads, because you said based on this ad spend, the ROAS, someone said to you, you're a good bet, which you already knew, right? But what do people know what goes into the ad spend? Because the ad spend is more about the dollar spent on the ads. It's what goes into the ad. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, so I will say that this annual study on ROI allows us to actually look at how people are relating to our advertising. And so there are questions that are about that. So it goes deeper than just the ad spend itself and how much is coming back to the city in terms of the return. It's asking about like, how do you think that this ad reflected Washington, D.C.? Because, we know the CNN effect of the city and the story that is told every day. Every minute of the day, it feels like that doesn't feel like the city that you and I live in, right? And so, you're promoting downtown, I'm promoting the whole of the city. These are, that is not our experience on a daily basis. And so I think a good ad helps highlight. I always say that, I'm really lucky to have the National Mall as a backdrop that people know around the world. They see the National Mall and they know that's Washington, D.C. But there's so much beyond that. So we're lucky to have that, yay, but let's go beyond that and tell the real story of Washington, D.C. And that's what our Only One D.C. brand and campaign really exemplify in terms of talking about this great city, because it is unique. There is only one nation's capital, and we're really leaning into that story.
Can we talk about the Only One DC campaign for a second? Did you, when you embarked on this campaign and Only One DC came out of it, was there a goal beyond telling a different story beyond the mall? What did you set out to do that produced that outcome?
I would say, so I've been with Destination DC nearly 15 years now. And I would say my goal from the very beginning, because of what I heard when I arrived from board members, from other stakeholders, the PR people and marketing people that I was meeting, that they wanted to ensure we were telling that story beyond the National Mall. And there's kind of this feeling that maybe that wasn't happening to whatever degree. And that's not critical of where we are, because I think that we were telling some of those stories, but I think that what I was hearing is they weren't seeing it reflected necessarily in the advertising and the way that we were promoting the city specifically. And so over the next few years, we really played with that a bit and started, really shifted what the brand looked like. We started a campaign called DC Cool, and that big shift allowed us to ensure that people were seeing advertising was in black and white. It was really kind of like, kind of stark in contrast to other destination advertising. And And I really like that, but it's also limiting, right?
Right.
But as what we learned is that it stood out because people were like, oh, that's a DC ad. Oh, like they questioned that. And so it allowed us to kind of play with the assumption of what people think about DC.
Okay.
What we learned from that, and we we're kind of like, that was both a brand and a campaign. The campaign shifted many times over the years. It was not just always called DC Cool. It evolved into several other iterations. And we realized that we were feeling pretty defensive about the brand instead of owning the brand.
Okay.
And so the shift is that, people would say, like, if you're really cool, do you have to call yourself cool? That kind of thing. And so, that evolved over time. I don't think we were always calling ourselves cool, but what I'm saying is that in 2022, we'd worked a decade in terms of telling this story already. We were Michelin-starred restaurant city. We had won the Stanley Cup, the World Series, the WNBA championship. Like, we're on the map for a variety of reasons, and beyond what people might already know is here in terms of politics and stuff. And so it allowed us to own who we are as Washington, DC. And so we were like, why are we being defensive about it? We got this. This is actually who we are. This is the city. And so Only One DC is what reflects that. It's just owning it in a different way. And like, shame on you if you're shocked about it, because we're not.
I love it, because we're owning it.
Yeah.
Robin, for a second, because place management organizations are really a microcosm of what larger destination brands are promoting. I feel like, obviously, our budgets are smaller and our area is smaller, but I feel like we have more of a case to make for why spending ads, buying ads is a good idea, right? And so, what is my question? I think I want you to, if you're talking to CEOs and people we have to fight to get the money to, what are you saying? What would you say to, because there's, 2,500 place management organizations in North America. So all of us, bids, SIDS, Main Streets, alliances, doing the same thing, promoting our places, and all of us fighting for this money because we're trying to bring people here. What would you say to CEOs or CFOs who don't think that the ad spend for marketing is a good idea or it's a good investment?
I would just say that maybe you don't have the vocabulary just yet to explain why there is great ROI with marketing. Where marketing comes in, certainly destination marketing, is filling in those gaps. Like, weekend business, how do we impact that? What are the need periods in our market? So we know that winter is lighter, summer is lighter. Even though it's family, this is a family-friendly destination and all, there's less of that convention and meetings business booked in summer and winter. And so that means we are working to fill those need periods. And so what a limited budget allows you to do is focus on need periods and when the city needs to be filled. What a larger budget allows you to do is really establish your brand and get people thinking all year round, and you're having a conversation with them where you're continuing to kind of plant seeds, whether that's through the work that the advertising team does, whether that's because you saw an influencer's story or paid social, editorial opportunities, but it allows us to kind of collectively tell that story. I also think it's the responsibility of marketers to ensure they're speaking in terms of data, that they're speaking in terms of real ROI, and they're sharing their success in a way that is bringing people who may not be in the marketing space often along.
So, Robin, somebody's watching who is a team of one, who works for a small bid somewhere. And they're connecting with you right now. They're saying, okay, I feel you, Robin. I hear you. But I don't have a board like that. They're saying, Robin, I have given them the numbers. I have given them the data. I can't do a ROI study, but I've given them this. And they still won't give me the money. And they're feeling frustrated right now because they're trying to do their work and promote this place. What do you say to them?
I would say still track it.
Okay.
I don't think you have to have an annual ROI study like we do to show that your work is worthwhile and impactful. But I think you have to look at the ways that it is. So if you're looking at your social media, yeah, you can talk about impressions and kind of like, total reach, but how are you engaging, and how are you doing that post after post? And so tell the story in that way about that engagement. Who's liking you? Who's, what's your, how many people are finishing videos, or sharing. So all of that is your marketing is motivating someone to take another step. Right. To do something. It's not just, this reached, 50,000 people. And so I would just say, keep it simple.
Okay. So you brought up social media. Is there a right way and a wrong way to approach this from a place, promoting a place perspective?
I think social media is like the tool to be able to tell your story the best. And it's because it's immediate. It's free. And people are engaged there. And so you want to be there. I think that's, if I were doing nothing, like you talked about the one person, what can I do? Or who's listening, who, like, I don't have this budget. You don't have to have a budget to invest in your social media at all. You just need to find the right story to tell first, and then start building from there. It needs to be interesting. It needs to be authentic. It needs to, you need to have something to say. You can't just, it can't be like you're, here's what we're doing today, but like it needs to, have some strategy. Are you trying to get more people to come to your ice cream shop? Are you trying to get more people to book this hotel? Trying to get more people to buy tickets, whatever that may be, and then find the creative ways that you can do that.
Robin, tell me what you love about your job. What do you love about marketing?
Oh, well, what I love about my job and what I love about marketing are two different things.
Okay, let's have them both.
Okay, so what I love about my job are the people that I work with.
Okay.
I just, I would not be still at Destination DC if they did not make it fun every day. What I love about marketing is it's the career I never saw coming, and that I continue to learn every day. Yeah.
Okay.
I started out as a broadcast journalist.
Yeah, that was my major. HU, School to See.
Yeah. So I went from television, reporting to tourism. There's some things in between, but I just never saw it coming, and it's, and I'm back home, and this is the city I love, and it's a great opportunity and privilege to promote it.
Yes, I agree. Same. Lots of things in between. I did not want to go to Milwaukee and report on cats and dogs. Then I got married and had kids. Like, okay, I got to find a job that pays consistently. Robin, you lead a pretty large team at Destination DC. And so it runs the gamut, the size of people's teams, especially in place management. What do you think has been critical as a leader in leading this team?
A couple things. I think transparency.
Okay.
So really sharing kind of what my vision is, and listening. I could share a vision transparently, and maybe it wasn't clear. So listening to the feedback, listening to the questions, listening to ideas and brainstorming. And then I would just say, it's an overused word, just like back in the pandemic, like pivoting was, kind of come back to that in some ways. But I would say really being precise about your strategy and what your strategic vision is, so that others can follow along and that there's a trickle-down effect.
So to that small business owner, let's say in hospitality, in a great place, what is one thing that you think they should be doing or can do?
Well, I do think you have to have a social media presence, but here's the thing. I think it can feel overwhelming if you feel like you have to spend every day posting something.
Okay.
Like a podcast, you have to, like a successful podcast would, has to have like, every Tuesday.
Right.
People are looking for that every Tuesday and they want a new episode to drop. Right. And when that doesn't happen, they're like, what, what happened? So with social media, I think you can kind of train your engagement to be there through post. So whether that is like having we have like a trivia Tuesday or things to do this weekend, people know when those things are happening on social. But beyond that, you're also it's about having a story to tell. So like I started with DC, we have an endless number of stories to tell about the destination. A small business owner may think that they don't, right? And so I think that then wait for that story so that you are really leveraging that moment, and that limits what you're sharing on social, but it's still giving you a presence and allowing people to find you, I think, in an authentic way.
Okay, cool. I love it. So before we wrap, anything you want to share about Destination DC, anything coming up, visit WashingtonDC.com.
Washington.org.
Washington.org. I should know that. I know it. Washington.org. We'll put it up. But anything new, anything coming up you want to share?
I just remind people about DC 250. That's what we're calling it. And it's a year-long event. And so you could come now, you could come in September, you could come around July 4th. But there is going to be something to do in terms of celebrating America's 250th birthday, hotel deals, discounts, attractions, museum exhibits, special performances, all of these things happening throughout the city. And also, I'm sure, throughout the downtown area as well.
Nice plug, Robin. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. That's a wrap, everybody. You heard it here. DC 250 is the place to be now through September. Visit Washington.org. And for more information about downtown DC, go to downtowndc.org. I hope to see you in downtown real soon. See you next time.